Welcome to the Pop-Off with Gene FitzMagic and friends. Your daily sports and entertainment radio show, live all over the world. You're going to want to hear what these guys have to say. With their hot takes, recaps, previews, and predictions, sometimes these guys might get along, but most times, they won't. So see what happens when these guys pop off about the world of sports and entertainment.
Good evening or good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pop-Off. We had a little bit of a nice 2-week vacation for our 4th of July, and I had the flu. I was really sick. So we took a couple days off, but we're back. And I am Gene FitzMagic, joined by James Wudi, Nigel Downer, and Caleeb Pinkett. What's up, fellas?
Yeah, what's going on?
So we got a lot to talk. We're going to talk some more off-season basketball, some more off-season football, because that's really all there is to talk about right now. But, Caleeb, are you enjoying our Wimbledon right now?
Oh, yes, of course. You know me. I'm a huge tennis fan. You know what I mean? I'm looking to see my boy Yannick Sinner. I want to see Yannick and Alcaraz again. And I want to see one of them play Jokic for the title. So it's gonna be great. My boy Tiafoe lost. I didn't like that, but Chris Eubanks, that brother is no joke, and he's and he is phenomenal, and he is now into the round of 8. That's the quarterfinals. Is about to be good, man. I'm telling y'all. I don't know how people just don't love tennis. I love it, the male and female. I'm so big on it. It's my thing. I was telling Nigel yesterday. Oh yeah, Nigel and I met in person yesterday. Hung out a little bit. Thank you for taking me to the jerk chicken spot with the good sweet potato and all that.
There you go.
It was a wonderful time. But anyway, I digress. But yes, I'm definitely watching Wimbledon.
You put me on to Alcaraz, so I was paying attention to him last.
He's good, isn't he?
He's good. He got a little frustrated in that game. You can see where he's starting to bubble over a little bit.
That's what I like about it, because they got to be judged, but they be really pissed. It's hilarious.
It's been an exciting tournament so far. So far so good. Anybody else keeping up with it? Nigel, James?
I saw Jimmy Buckets was at Wimbledon. I don't know if anybody saw that. I saw that part.
I didn't see that.
I saw that. He's just, hanging out with them young blokes out there. So he's doing all right. That's all I got for you. That's the Nigel Downer update, baby.
Did anybody check out the home run derby last night? Your guy Vladdy.
I saw Guerrero won.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did anybody see the
25 homers?
Yeah. Julio Rodriguez hit 41 in the first round, which is a record in the first round. 41 homers in the first round, which is that's a season. He did it in about 15 minutes. Did anybody see the kid get hit in the head with the ball?
No, sir.
There's little. They have like little leaguers out in the outfield for the balls that don't go over the thing, and the kid had the mitt up, and it went right over the mitt, hit him right in the head, like Sandlot.
Well, that should just let him know he's in the wrong sport. Okay.
Maybe a designated hitter. Maybe a DH.
Maybe, yeah.
Outfield is not for him. I mean? So
yeah, he should, ping pong, maybe bowling.
Yeah.
Things of that nature.
Yeah, or maybe even like a winter sport. Maybe you should just chill out with the summer. Maybe just take up snowboarding or skiing.
Curling.
Yeah, curling.
There you go. You don't have to worry about anything hitting you in the head in a curling event. So,
yeah.
As long as you're doing it right, I guess. But yeah, so how was everybody's 4th of July? Everything good?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Nigel doesn't get 4th of July. What do you guys celebrate up there? You saw Canada Day, right?
Yeah, we have Canada Day the week before, but we celebrate 4th of July with all your sales, man. There was enough sales popping off, so I was going ham on the credit card, so it was all good.
There you go. Now, can you tell us about the hat? Is that for Vladdy?
Yes, this is twofold. This is I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone. Or shout out to two birds. I don't want to kill these people. Shout out to Vladdy and my Jays, right? And obviously I got the nice cursive T here. So this was from the early 2000s, I believe. But this is also for my boy Caleeb. I wore this hat for you, and you couldn't make it on the pod the one day. So as we were going through our intro, I had to run upstairs and change my hat because I didn't want to wear it unless you were here. This is the Toronto Blue Jays Thundercats Lino colorway. Let me give you a better look. So if you look at it, you got the blue, right? Look at that like nice little gold stitch there, okay?
Yep.
And now the blue and the beige, if you remember, that was his costume, also his skin color. And check out the patch on the side, the all red,
That's
baby.
fire.
Anniversary.
Yeah.
And then you got the you got the two-tone flat Batman in the back there. You know what I mean? Blue and blue with the nice little shout out to the beige button on top. This one I will be posting on my hat site very, very shortly. I have a bunch of stuff that I've taken pictures of, but this one I wore for you, my guy. So shout out to Caleeb for coming out yesterday in Toronto, which was a nice day. We got to chop it up and just like laugh and just chat and get real for a bit. So it was nice, man. So shout out.
There you go. Making connections. There you go. So,
guys. I was like, Wudi wasn't there. I was like, yo, Nigel, we missing Wudi.
Yeah.
Yo, what happened?
You were talked about. Wudi, you were talked about, bro. So,
left the white guy out.
Oh, no, Gene, you started it. You started it, bro. Don't you?
Listen, I'm still recovering from the UFC fight this weekend. The little thing with Dupley and Adesanya. So I was like, you know what? I'm sorry. I love Gene, but not today, man. Not today.
I get it, guys. I get it.
That was a great card, though.
My God. Listen, those that are into the UFC, that Brandon Moreno, Pantoja, dude, it's one of the greatest UFC fights in history. I swear. I'm a little bummed that Brandon didn't win because I thought Brandon won the fight, but I'm not a judge. Hey, it is what it is. But regardless, it was a phenomenal night. And just, the whole card, it was just great. I'm a huge MMA fan as well. So, those that watch it, listen, you had a treat. And then I'm telling you, this Dupley Adesanya fight, the way that I'm telling you, it's about to go down. Like Dana's about to make so much money. He played ignorant. They asked him at the press conference. They said, so how do you feel about the racial undertones? He said, what racial undertones? What are you guys talking about? They said, Izzy was using, the N-word multiple times. He said, so what? He's black. I don't give a shit. Let him play. He was like, this is the fight business, baby. I'm like, Dana's like, all I care about is this money I'm about to make.
The only color Dana cares about is green.
Yes, and they are about to exploit all that terrible history of apartheid for as much money as possible. And somebody's going to get hurt in that fight. But it's going to be great. Like, I am looking forward to it. So, again, a phenomenal card that was. And Wimbledon, come on, what's better?
Wimbledon's a fun time of year. I always feel like that's how it's like the Masters. When the Masters happens, it feels like springtime, right? Same thing with Wimbledon. When Wimbledon happens, it feels like summertime. It just
just know it.
It's about I know it's un-American. It's not an American event, but it feels like just as traditional as the All-Star game, which happens tonight. So
yes.
I think that's a great point, Gene. It's like a lot of sports, and to your point, may not be from that origin country, or it may not be as popular in a certain country, but it does dictate a certain time of year. It does spell out a certain time of year for fans, man. And like to your point, Wimbledon, we're in like the peak of summer for North America. Like we're getting there in a lot of the regions. You know what I mean? And again, like the NBA All-Star break, it's like, okay, spring is right around the corner, you know what I mean? Because we're getting it like on the tail end of winter. So there's a lot of major events that happen that dictate how your year is going as a sports fan, or what time of year it is if you're a sports fan.
Very true.
Agreed. So do we want to do NBA first, or do we want to do NFL first?
You the host. You knock it out.
Let's get into the NBA first. Let's knock that out quick. There's only a few things we're going to be doing. Maybe we'll talk a little Dame too, because that seems like it's about to happen. But let's get into our offseason outlooks. Phoenix Suns already making a big move. Are they done making moves? Now they're going to fill out that bench. What are we looking at for that bench? I know they already brought in Watanabe and a few other guys. Do you see them making any other moves with this bench? Any other guys that you think they're going to be able to bring in here that are going to add some depth to this team? I love the Eric Gordon signing, by the way. The Eric Gordon signing is a big coming off the bench.
I would agree. I think if they do add somebody, it's not going to be somebody, that they're going to put on the marquee. I think they're just filling out, kind of doing that old school, or not even old school, because the Lakers literally just did this like last year, just like the LeBron James model of, okay, you got, 3-4 guys that we're going to hang our hats on, and then just try to get as many, bargain deals. And like you said, I think Eric Gordon is a bargain deal. I think they got a couple others. So I think, now it's just, for everybody and to see what happens.
What about you, Nigel? How do you feel about this? With some of the additions that they've already made, and do they need to do it? Is there any more moves that you're looking at that they need to do?
Well, I mean, they're doing great. Again, I'm going to just echo what everybody's going to say is that the Gordon is a steal and a great deal. I think that they're in pretty good shape, man. I think the only thing that they really need to do is work on this chemistry thing. Like we called it out early, and I think it's now that they have a lot more like Booker and oh my gosh, help me out.
Beal.
Yes, thank you. Now we've got Beal on there too. There's a lot of things that they need to work out as a team to have that kind of, that camaraderie, that play together, and to gel to become a cohesive team. But yeah, I think filling out that bench, they're 15th. They finished 15th in scoring, 11th in total rebounds, 7th in 3-pointers. So I mean, they're not bad already. We saw what they did in the latter half of the season. We saw what they did in the playoffs. They're ready. They just need to fill out that bench.
There you go, Caleb.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And the problem is they don't have a lot of money left. But when you got a billionaire owner, just pay the luxury tax, right? Because you're going to make all that money back times 10, times 50 if you can win a chip, right? And I think they should, if they're worried about it, scour the rec leagues. Miami already showed you what it is, and I know it sounds funny, but I'm not lying. Like, for $1 million, you could probably get 3 other players at $250 a pop that would gladly jump up because they don't care about the money. It's the exposure, because they know one good game and it could change your career, right? You can get a $5 million contract next season playing for $250 now. So if I was Phoenix, I'd be doing all of that because you have to be able to compete. And in order to compete, like Hudi's point, we're going to hang our hat on these players. So you got KD, Bill, and Booker. Okay, fine. But they're human. They're going to need rest. So you need people that can hold the fort for 5, 10 minutes, right? Because that's all they can really get for rest. Like, they ain't gonna get too much more than that. So it's like, but that could be enough for Booker to rest for 10 minutes before he goes into the fourth quarter to, you know what I mean? So it's like, those are the things that make the differences. That's why Denver was a phenomenal team, right? But their bench was nasty. Like, they were bringing dudes in that could really hold down the fort. You know what I mean? And those guys left and got multi-million-dollar deals some other place. Like in Detroit, they took dang, I'm blanking on his name, but dude was a Boston. They got him for like 2 years, $37 million, something like that. Like I'm just saying, like, these guys are garnering the money, but they need the chance to show themselves. Look at Miami. Miami done lost 3 or 4 of their rec players. They all went other places and now getting NBA player money, right? So I say all that to say, it's like you gotta support your stars by giving them the opportunity to rest with guys that are at least hungry, that are out there. You want those guys that are going to dive after the ball. Like, one of my favorite movies is Cable Guy. And if you've ever seen that movie, Jim Carrey's character, Chip Douglas, went to the rec to go play ball. And he was like the worst. You never want that guy on your opposite team, diving on the floor for the balls, fouling hard, trolling, like all of that. Like, that's what you need. If you do that, you'll be fine. Like, you'll be able to compete for a title. But if I was Phoenix, that's all I'd be doing.
Right, yeah, I agree. Right now, they need the guys to do the dirty work. Once they get those guys settled in, they'll be fine. Do we look at them as the favorites next year, or is it still Denver?
I think you gotta to be the man. You gotta beat the man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't just say you're the favorite over Denver. I saw what Jokic can do. Jokic is worth 3 stars because of his IQ. See, people only think about talent and the ability. We're all in the Ja Morant phase. But Jokic is a basketball savant. He understands the ins and outs, the X's and O's, if you will. That is, you can't quantify that. And he can run the floor. I'm telling, like, that's a different level. So I would say Denver is still the favorite until somebody comes in. Like, LeBron needs a team like that, and LeBron can do it because LeBron has that kind of mind. He's a savant as well. Like, those types of guys, they're always in competition. I mean, well, at least always at a fight for the top. And I think until somebody beats Denver, we got to give them that. Like they swept KD last year. I know it was without Bill, but I mean they swept him.
Are we all in agreement?
I can agree. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to say like they're not the favorite, but like I literally have not seen KD win a ring without Steph. So like I can't just be putting. I mean, he's done this song and dance. You know, Kyrie and Harden and everybody. Like I feel like he just keep hopping from super team to super team, and it has nothing to show for it. He's been swept in Brooklyn with Harden and Kyrie.
Oh, my bad. He didn't sweep him. Denver didn't sweep him this year, but still, it was like a gentleman's sweep. Like it wasn't a real competition. I think Denver won. I think Phoenix won one game.
No, I think they did. I thought they won. No, they won 2 games. I thought.
Okay, they won 2. It's still.
I know what you're saying. They're not there.
They won 2, and it felt like they got swept. So my bad.
But they did. They legitimately got swept in the first round by Boston. I want to say that was last year. That was last year.
Right now, Abby's listening to this, screaming for her.
Yes, she is. She's saying, "No, we won 2." Abby, my sincere apologies. You guys won 2, but it felt like nothing. Like, because it felt like these guys were just that much better, and the Lakers are the ones that got swept. My bad, but still, you know what I mean. So go ahead, Wudi. My bad.
But no, I cannot anoint a Kevin Durant led team. That's not a knock on him because obviously he's a tremendous player. You know, one of the best scorers of all time. But I just cannot anoint them in July that they're the favorites. Not yet.
I agree.
I'm assuming you're on the same page, Nige?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I just really want to see what shakes down with all this free agency and stuff. Like, and who's the what are the final names on the sheet? Like who are the people on the rosters? You know what I mean? Like once we get closer to that, then I'm going to start calling some shots. You know, I won't be afraid to do it that early, but this early, nah, hard pass on that.
Too soon. Okay, I get it. All right, let's see who we got coming up next. My New York Knicks. I know James Wudi's beloved New York Knicks. Wudi, what are you thinking, man? What are we? First off, we've already had a little bit of discussion about some of what we were upset about trading Obi Toppin. We both were like, what for second round picks? The guy had a 40-point game this year. Now he doesn't get enough playing time, but when he plays well. And not only that, listen, is DiVincenzo a nice player? Yeah, he's a nice player. He averaged 9 points a game, and they're trying to sell us like, oh, look who he just signed. Like I seen people on Instagram posting like, oh, what a great signing. He's a role player. He averaged 9 points a game last year. What are we talking about? What are we doing? If that's supposed to be the big signing, what are we doing? I mean, it's not trying to win. James, give me your opinion.
The Knicks suck. They suck. All right,
they're mixing it up. They're mixing it up again.
One of the worst front offices in all of professional sports. I have no idea what they are doing. Literally no clue. When you put this in the email that we're talking about this team, I almost said I couldn't show up. I said I don't know what to show up because this team, I don't know what they do. Every single time they make the playoffs, they're like, oh, okay, we made the playoffs. We're a decent team. And then they don't do anything. They get rid of good players like you just said, like Obi Toppin, and sell me on no. This isn't March Madness. I do not care that Villanova, those 3 guys are back together. That means nothing.
That was a big sales point. That was the big sales point. 3 guys that played at Villanova. Next thing you know, are we getting Jay Wright? Is Jay Wright coming on the coach? I mean, what?
I'm furious about that. We need a wing. We need a wing. I know when we lost. Stephen A. He went on a little soliloquy talking about, we got to get rid of Randall. I like Randall. Randall's the only one that, he's been all NBA, he's been an all-star. Does he disappear in the playoffs? Yes, but there's also a regular season, and he has been consistently good that regular season. We got Jalen Brunson. Everybody loves him. I am not excluded from that pack. RJ Barrett, that's the one where I'm like, okay, he's young, he's still young. It's been 4 years. He's still young, but is he going to do anything? Is he going to develop in any form or fashion? The way that the Knicks can get over the hump is by getting that wing that can actually produce consistent points, because that's what always happens is that Julius can't do anything. And now we have Brunson. The year before that, it was kind of Derrick Rose doing the same thing, trying to generate offense, but they're running on fumes. Is there a wing, somebody in the league that can help us out? Paul George, Zach LaVine, Jaylen Brown. Give me somebody who could just score.
And that was the thing.
Basketball.
Supposedly they had the deal in place for Paul George. What held it up was they didn't want to give him an extension. And sometimes you just got to give an extension. Sorry, sometimes you got to pay the man.
It's a fact, and he's good two-way. Like I don't understand it. I hate the organization.
Would you be as mad if they would have made the trade and gave him an extension? I mean, was Paul George
no, because that's what we need shooting. Like RJ can't shoot. Quentin Grimes. He's all right.
Nice player, but that's it. He's a nice player.
Like we need somebody on the wing who we know is a bucket that can get points. Like because that's why we're a great defensive team. So if there's a two-way player like those three that I named, like that would have been. That's what's going to push us over the hump because we cannot win games. In 2023, we cannot win games 97-91 every time, right? Because teams score a lot of points. Like we need to be able to, hit fire with fire, and we have no firepower outside of Jalen Brunson.
Nigel, how do you fix the Knicks? Would you have given Paul George the extension?
Listen, first and foremost, what the Knicks really need is, this is going to be a big agreement pod, I feel like today. Wudi is right, 1000%. You need a win because y'all need y'all need 3-point shooters. Y'all need shooters, man. You're 19th in the league. Y'all need shooters, right? And listen, I like Randall too. I think he's fine, to be honest with you. I also think that he's a product of the New York market, which is very harsh on all of their stars or any player that comes here with that's wearing a championship belt. Just a hypothetical, they're not even going to bring us a championship, but this guy's a promised guy or this guy's yada 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 Ray. And then the New York market is so quick to knock him down. So I think it is about the perimeter, man. You guys did sign a lot of guards so far. It looks like you have a power forward, you have a couple guards there, shooting guards. So I think you're trying to beef up that outside, that 3-point. But that's the biggest thing, man, for me, for you guys, 1000%.
Well, I gotta just say, I hate to do revisionist history, but Stephen A. Since my man Wudi brought up Stephen A. said it. The fact that the Knicks would not trade R.J. Barrett for my boy in Cleveland? I don't know.
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell. That because you need it right now. I understand the idea. And okay, we got somebody who's young. He'll give us more years. Yes. But the point is to win now. There actually is no tomorrow, right? Like you're thinking of a future that may or may not exist. All you have is the present moment. Right now, you needed Donovan Mitchell. Could you have imagined what Donovan Mitchell would have brought with Jalen Brunson and Randall? Right? You got to let RJ Barrett go for that.
We could have went to the finals, I think, with that.
At least you would have beat Miami.
Yeah.
Right? Like at minimum,
Yes.
right? So there's that. So I think that was the first mistake. Now, here's what I will say in the defense of the Knicks at this game. In your point, Nigel, about the shooters. That's what DiVincenzo is supposed to help alleviate. He is a shooter. That's what he does. He's a reminder. I'll take you back old school because all of us here are way above 30 years old. Well, at least I know I am. I know we are. The point is this. John Paxson was that on the Bulls, taking you back old school, right? He might have averaged the same amount of points that DiVincenzo does. I'm going to just say this. There was one time, not more than once, but there was a game against the Phoenix Suns when he was just in that position, and when Michael Jordan needed it, he kicked it, and that dude hit it. That's all you need, right? That's all you need. Because I always say, Gene, I always say it's not how many times you do it, it's when you do it. And maybe DiVincenzo could be that guy who's open and can hit it when y'all need it, right? So that's all I'll say about that. But I think the mistake was not getting rid of Barrett for Mitchell. I think it's very hard. And then with this Paul George thing, you're going to let Paul George go by. And I get he's not in his prime. He's on the tail end. But he's still going to give you 25 easily. And in the EC, it might go to 30 a night. Right? He's that. You got to take those shots because the goal is to win now. You saw the Bucks. They won once. And like everybody thought they were going to be a dynasty. That's how fast the NBA evolves and like teams come together because you can switch players so easily now. When your shot comes, you got to take it. You got to take it. You got to take it. It's the new way the game is done now. So, again, I just think that was the biggest mistake. And then the Paul George thing, it's like, come on, what are you guys doing? I like RJ Barrett. I'm here in Canada right now. I'm in Toronto. I don't want to diss a Canadian, but I'm just saying, brother, like I would have let him go and got a Mitchell, or definitely I would have gave Paul George a damn extension. What are you talking about? Like,
especially when you're a win now team. You're a win now team.
Every team is a win now in the NBA. Every team. I don't think we'll see a repeat champion for a while. Like, think about that. Like,
I think Denver.
a repeat.
I think Denver will be a repeat champion.
They can, but I don't think that they will. I have to see them be beat. But like, I'm serious. Losing those pieces, people think you could just put anybody in. No, man. Like specific people at specific times create that thing. That's what I'm saying. As good as Steph Curry is at shooting, they didn't win. You know what I mean? Like the Lakers beat them. Think about all that stuff. Like Steph hasn't changed. It's just the teammates around him. You don't have Iguodala no more. You don't have Sean Livingston with that length on the end. Like I'm telling you, all that stuff matters, man. People just think humans are interchangeable. They are not. Everybody has their own skill set and gel together with some, and others don't. You know what I'm saying? So that's all. That's what I'm saying. That's why you just can't replace group members. Be like, that ain't the Temptations. I don't care what the marquee say. Where Eddie Ruffin? You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't the Temptations. You can't have the five heartbeats ain't the same with Flash.
No. It's funny you said the Temptations because I was thinking R&B too. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, what?
Yeah,
I was like,
just can't replace. Yes, you just can't replace it. Hey, I love Johnny Gill. But when Bobby was there, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, man, come on. Like, it's just hard. So I digress, but yeah.
So what do we think the New York Knicks take a step back next year?
Wow. Listen, I want to say no so bad, but I feel like I don't think it'll be a massive step back. I think they will digress. I think Gene, I'm trying to let you down easy. What I'm trying to say is that it's not going to be a huge come down, but I think the energy and like what we witnessed last season of the Knicks kind of like on the cusp of a renaissance, and everybody was kind of getting on the Knicks train, especially me, because I was like, yeah, we need those old school teams to come back and just do a little thing. I think that exhausted them. I think that was a lot for them, and I think that they'll either go like 500 or just below. I don't know if they're making the play-in next year. Let alone the playoffs.
Damn,
I think
that's a little too low. I was gonna say,
I'm not scared.
I think maybe they I think they actually stayed the same, and it's just that so many teams around them got better. Like I feel like there were teams that finished below them that are now going to finish above them. But to say they're not going to make the play in, like, I mean, that's 10 spots. I don't know if
I know. Yeah, I don't think that.
To your point, Wudi, other GMs understood the assignment. Get better. It's your offseason is when you're supposed to get better. Exactly. The Knicks said, "Oh, why do we need certain players? We're fine. We made the playoffs last year. Let's trade a guy off our bench." Listen, I don't even really know where to go with it because we kind of just go ahead.
You know what I would do? Like, if I was the Knicks, you know who I would try to go get? And I know it doesn't answer the shooting thing, but I think it will help alleviate it because it will draw defenses inside. What if the Knicks try to set up a trade for Spicy P in Toronto for Barrett? Let Barrett come home, play in Canada, and bring Siakam to the Knicks. Imagine that. Because of his force on the inside, teams are going to have to play closer, which will now alleviate a little bit. Brunson can shoot from the outside. He's not great, but he can shoot. And you add a DiVincenzo who can shoot. Like I'm just saying, like things like that. Like you never know. Like I would do something like that. Like why not? I know I've heard because I'm here in Toronto. I've been watching the Canadian feed of SportsCenter, and they're talking about Spicy P as a possible trade piece. If I was the Knicks, I'd go get him. Why not?
You don't think that would create a logjam between him and Randall? Like
I think Randall. I think, but Randall don't want to play on the inside any damn way. He'll be on the outside. Like I'm just saying. Like
you can play with a big lineup and have him as your small forward.
Listen, I'm trying, and you got to think about the East. right? There's big. The Bucks are big. They got length on the inside, like all that. Like you want somebody that can compete down there. And you got Spicy P. He'll alleviate Bam. He'll at least be able to compete with Bam down there when you play Miami, and all of that. Like I'm just saying, like you got to think out the box. And a player like Siakam who can play inside and out. Siakam, he's not the greatest outside shooter, but he's not afraid to pull the trigger.
No,
you know what I mean?
I don't hate it. I'll tell you what, I don't hate the move.
I mean, I'm just saying, but like, why not? What else? What else are you doing? You know what I mean?
Can I ask this? Let me ask this question. And I get we weren't on the list, but sometimes it shouldn't matter. Like sometimes you send out your people.
I don't care what the players want to play.
What about Lillard, man? Like, why are we not even in on Lillard?
Because Lillard is telling, he's denying this, but his agent is saying any team that's not Miami, don't waste your time. He doesn't want to play for you. Right?
I get that, and I've already heard that. My thing is, then why don't you get some people on a plane, go out to Portland, and be like, listen, Dame, this is why this is the place for you. Sell him on New York.
You could, if he's not sold on New York, just understanding New York, then that's just on him. Here's the deal, though. Portland can do whatever they want. If they don't have to send him to Miami. If the Knicks give a better package, he's going to New York. He'll be mad for 3 months. What will happen is those fans will kill him so much, he'll be like, damn it. And then once he balls one time and he sees the response New York gives him, and then all the sponsorships that come with it, because playing in New York is like playing in LA, like playing in Boston. It's those places where if you're the man, the world opens up for you, right? I know for a fact Dame, he'll change that up real quick. Him on a marquee down in it's like oh my gosh, could you imagine that on Broadway, like down in Times Square, the big thing with Dame Time doing this? Get out of here,
Wudi. Like true or false? Dame was to come to the Knicks and win a title with the Knicks. There's a statue in front of the Garden. Am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh my God.
I don't know about the statue, but he definitely will be
he is getting a statue in front of the Garden.
Yeah. Gene, listen, man, you know what I love about you? I love that you think big. You think big all the time, bro. You think little and you think big, and I love it. Listen, I think that this whole Dame thing has gotten out of hand and is ridiculous on all the levels. One of the things that I'm struggling with is like, why did Dame make this decision, or why did his team make this decision now? Like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, when the offer started to come out, and he was like, "Yo, I want out of Portland." Like, why now? Like, I feel like there's so many pieces that got moved that could have been part of other packages from other elite teams or teams that could win now if he had just said it when everyone was declaring free agency. You know what I mean?
No, you know what, Nigel? But to answer that, in my opinion,
I
think Portland, they forced it. They drafted Scoot Henderson. Scoot is a 2-guard. He plays the exact position. Basically, they drafted Dame's replacement. Dame is not a hater. He sees it. He understood. As soon as they drafted Scoot, he DM'd Scoot, was like, "Hey, nothing but love, yada, yada, yada. Deuces." Right? He wants to go like.
Don't you think they could have coexisted though?
No, of course they could have. But you're not going to draft. So you're going to. That's what happened in Green Bay. You're going to draft a quarterback. You're going to draft Jordan Love.
I get it. But I think I would have. I think I tried talking in and saying, "Hey, give us one more year. Let's see what you and Scoot can do together."
And it's like, you didn't draft help for me. You drafted the younger me. Okay, then, like Portland should have been doing something completely. They should have got. And there's a lot of other players they could have got. They knew what they were doing. They were number 3. They did that on purpose. It's all good. So that is why Dame is leaving, because he saw, they're not building around me. They're rebuilding. And Dame said, I don't want to be part of a rebuild. He understands that, right? And he's basically trained Scoot to be you. He don't want to do that. He wants to win. So, it's that. Again, and Miami got really close, so I understand, and it's the city. And he saw how close they were. He's like, I could go play with them and we could do something. But I think he could have done the same in New York. And it's a bigger market, and the love would be insane.
Yeah, but Miami, he vibes with Miami though. Like when you put him and Butler back to back, it's like, this is trouble.
Yeah,
just waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Can I say this? let me ask, why does Miami get all the players though? I'm so sick of it. They get everybody that's big.
Because of the city.
I'm sick of it. I get it. It's not fair.
It's quality of life. It's quality of life.
And it's the tax situation. There's no state tax, so they're gonna get more of their money.
Definitely.
I get it.
That too. Yeah, you know, so it is.
Fair.
Yeah, man, that's what it is. You know,
Knicks just suck. That's
you know what they should do? They should have it where it shouldn't course against the cap. You should be able to pay more money to combat the tax situation, where it's almost like 13 million is 13 million in every state, and then after that, their team is actually paying more because that's they're paying the tax. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It really unevens the playing field to an extent. You know.
Well, Texas has no tax, is a no tax state, and you don't see everybody clamoring to play for the Rockets, the Spurs, or the Mavericks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's quality of life.
Silence. Yeah,
it's quality of life. You know what I mean?
Miami.
Like that's what it is. Yeah.
Pat Riley throwing his rings on the table. I hate him.
That's right. If California didn't have a state tax, it would be a wrap. Everybody would be a Clipper or a Laker. You better believe it.
That's a good point. I think it would also help the Knicks to an extent too, because we do have a high tax bracket up here, and
that hurts everybody. Yeah, like the state tax is the thing.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get on to the next one. Knicks are going to suck this year. We know.
Yep.
They'll make the playoffs.
Sacramento Kings. I know we're all excited about the Sacramento Kings, about the future of the Sacramento Kings. What do we think about their offseason this year, James?
I think they're doing work, actually. You know, they've re-signed who they need to re-sign, extended who they need to extend. I feel like they have a nice core. Like their mindset is where the Knicks feel like they are like, oh yeah, we got RJ, we got they actually have people that they can, count on for the future. Sabonis, I mean, we're looking at it right now. And then even that bench, Malik Monk, Davian Mitchell, like we got some people. Now, Sasha Vezenkov, I'm not going to lie. I don't even know if I just butchered his name, but I did read an article in preparation for this episode talking about how he's the EuroLeague MVP. He's the best player over there, and he is primed, ready to do some work. If this is another diamond in the rough, because like Caleb was saying, old school. I'm a little old school. I'm still weary, right, of, when someone says, oh, this dude was killing it in Europe, now he's in the NBA. I'm like, oh, is he so like there's only so many. But now Luka making me look dumb, Jokic making me look dumb. There's so many people out here that just making me look foolish. Is he about to do some serious work? I think having Sabonis there also helps with that. Like I feel like the worst thing you can do is get somebody from there, and then they're on an island, right? Like even like Luka, he had Boban Marjanovic, right? And like just having that camaraderie. So I think the Kings, there is no reason to expect. I mean, De'Aaron Fox is only going to get better. All these young guys, they're just getting better and better. So they didn't have to, swing for the fences. I think the sky's the limit for them.
Yeah, I mean,
Nigel?
For me. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, Cable, go ahead. I'll finish after you. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm just make this quick. What I was gonna say is what I really love about.
That's why I apologize. I didn't see you talking because it's delayed on me. Is it delayed on everybody else, or is that just mine?
Oh,
I have no idea.
Okay,
it might be my internet, so I apologize. Go ahead.
If I'm delayed, I'm sorry, everybody. But what I was saying is the move I love the most of what the Kings did. Sabonis restructured his deal. He took less money so they could have more money to make moves. Mm-hmm. Like that shows me the mentality of wanting to win. See, that changes everything, right? And to Hudi's point about the MVP of the EuroLeague, here's the deal. From when we were younger, Wudi, watching all this, the Euro players were developing, right?
Yeah.
Now, and the rules of the league were so much different. We played so much more aggressive and rougher then. Now the laws, the rules are a lot more conducive to offensive style, which was always the Euro style, right? So now that's why the Euro players are playing, except for, I mean, not playing, but dominating the way that they are, except for Jokic, because I think Jokic has the frame, the body, like he's a big dude, like it's different with him. But like Luka, You see, Luka's great, but Luka don't play no defense for nothing. He's like Deion Sanders out there on the basketball court. He's like, they don't pay me to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I love prime time. You know, no disrespect, but we all know Deion was like, I ain't tackling nobody, baby. They don't pay me for that. But I digress. But the point is how they restructured his deal and he was willing to do it just says a lot to me. Like, I'm really big on this team. I think they're going to win a chip in the next 3 seasons. I said it. I'm going to keep saying it. I could be wrong, but it's something that I believe. I think they're right there. And if Wudi is right about this dang player, if he proves to be a savage, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad because that team is right there. And everybody else is getting older. Everybody like the Golden State, the Lakers, like they're old now. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, them young boys is coming, and I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
Listen, Wudi said it like immaculately, exquisitely. It's like, this is what the Knicks wanted to do, or this is what the Knicks should aspire to do or to be like. Like right now, and we got excited. The whole lot of us on this pod and some got excited when Sacramento was starting to do some real damage against Golden State. We were like, yo, not only were they crushing it during the regular season, they were coming in hot, man, and seated above Golden State. This is the perfect crosstown rival. This is a perfect highway rivalry that you need because now Sacramento, the front office is like, wait a second, we finally got something. The whole of Sacramento is rallying. And again, to Caleeb's point, man, for Sabonis to take that cut is one of the biggest gentleman moves in sports histories. Not so much like his history, but I mean in general. I'm going to digress and I'm going to go to football real quick. When Tom Brady, when he started taking all those cuts, man, you're right. Wudi knows what's up. When he started taking all those cuts, what happened? They just kept winning more rings because Brady wasn't selfish like that. He's selfish in the manner that he wants to win. How are you going to win? I'll take a cut if we can get the best guy, the best person for the job. It doesn't need to be an all-pro or an all. It doesn't need any of that. Oh, no, you're being attacked. But what it needs to be is somebody that will be unselfish like that. And that's exactly what's happening with Sabonis and the team. So shout out to the squad. I hope Sacramento does real good. I'm already looking at mine a Sacramento hat for fun.
I apologize about that. My cat literally walked across my computer and
it's okay.
It was funny.
Screwed everything up.
Cats don't care, but I'll just say this like a real this is what Sacramento reminds me of is like back in the day, I used to be a big wrestling fan when I was a kid, and I'm talking WWF, not WWE, WWF, right?
Yeah.
And
Preach.
when they were trying to break a new star, like when they were trying to make the Ultimate Warrior take over from Hulk, remember how the Ultimate Warrior would just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming and keep coming until eventually he overtook Hulk? That's what Sacramento is. They're coming to the ring. They're doing this. They're shaking it. They got the Intercontinental belt, not the heavyweight belt, but you know he's still going. It feels like that. Like I feel like they're on the cusp, and eventually they're gonna take it. So I'm excited to watch their rise. I really am.
I believe, wasn't that, and not to go too much into WWF, but believe that was actually the WrestleMania that he beat Hulk Hogan. Was that in Toronto?
It was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And
it was.
There you go. So I was and if I remember correctly, I think most people weren't really cheering for you always hear Hulk say it. He knew that it wasn't the right move that he dropped the title because everybody was watching him leave the arena and not watching the Ultimate Warrior celebrate.
No, the Hulk is just saying that. I know, right? He's just saying that now because of in the hindsight. But at the moment, Ultimate Warrior was the biggest thing. Now, I cried when Hulk lost. He was my favorite wrestler at that time. It was him, Bret the Hitman Hart. Like I was all of those guys, right? And I remember like the old school dudes. So it's that. But like when I saw the Ultimate, because my mom loved the Ultimate Warrior, so she was cheering, and I was like, no, not the Hulk. Right? I was so hurt. But I tell you this, you know what? Ultimate Warrior still has one of the best intro songs ever. When you hear that,
Yeah, Nigel's doing it before with the rope.
It was so dope. I hated it though when he beat home. But that's it. You know what I mean? And then it got into all the other stuff. I was a big fan of Shawn Michaels. I love that shit. Like, I loved wrestling back in the day. But Shawn Michaels from the Rockers, Shawn Michaels. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty.
With Marty Jannetty.
Yeah.
I remember that, dude.
We get way too old. So yeah, man. Coco Beware, the bird man.
Remember that?
Like, come on, man. I was like I'm from that generation, you know. Rick the Model Martel, Ravishing Rick Rude. Yeah. Man. Dude, like I
don't even get me started because I'm gonna drop my favorite wrestler right now. You know what it is. Shout out to Junkyard Dog.
JYD.
You have no idea how many figures I have of JYD, bro. Because that was my guy. That was my guy. R.I.P.
I'm wearing a wrestling shirt. He had the chain around his neck. Oh yeah, the biggest chain.
Yeah.
That's where DMX got it from.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Come on, the chain with the bark. The first bald-headed black man with a dog chain barking was a dude named JYD.
Yeah.
Out of Louisiana, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Was he from Louisiana? I thought he was from like Detroit or something.
No.
I should just watch a documentary on him, actually.
That's right. On the dark side of the ring.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's a great fantastic series.
Listen. He was fly back in the day. I was like, go ahead, JYD. Gold chains, the rings on every finger. I was like, go ahead, brother. You know what I'm saying?
See, I'm surprised nobody mentioned, and I know we're going way off, but that's what we do here. I'm surprised no one mentioned Macho. Macho Man was my guy.
Oh yeah.
No. Sound like heaven, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, and just so everybody knows, if you're not watching Dark Side of the Ring, you should watch it because it's also a Canadian production. So shout out to my boys, Stu Stone. Yep, who's one of the producers on there, one of the writers as well.
It's phenomenal.
Oh really?
Literally,
it's
it's masterful. Like I do not miss an episode. So well done. Like
yes,
so
it's phenomenal.
It's not biased. That's my favorite part. Is that I feel like every time you try to watch a documentary, especially wrestling, you know, Vince has his hands on it. You know, he's trying to sell an agenda. But these are, you know, the facts as they are. Very, very well done. I'm a huge fan.
The latest episode is actually on Marty Jannetty. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm watch it.
I haven't seen it yet either.
Yes. Dudes, like you forget, like I didn't know like how wild these dudes were and like what that life was. When a dude says, I think Jake the Snake in he said he was on the road 300 days out of the year. There's only 65 more days in the year.
Roddy Piper said the same thing. Roddy Piper.
300, right? And he's like, every night, another city. All we did was drink, do drugs, and get with girls. Like, and I'm like, duh. Like, what else are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like it was a crazy lifestyle that these guys that I had no idea that as a fan, as a kid, like of what they were really going through. So it's really interesting to watch those stories. Anybody that hasn't watched it, you definitely should. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's definitely a can't miss series. Especially for any old school wrestling fan. It's exactly what Wudi said. It's about as fair as a documentary as you're going to get. You know, it's the truth. It really is. So, all right. So let's break into some NFL news. Let's see. Ranking. We're going to rank the NFC South quarterbacks, which is going to be a little disgusting and might taste a little bad, but we'll try. We'll try our best. Wudi, give me your top four.
Well, I feel like if we don't have the same number one, we might not, but I feel like
I think we all got to have the same number one, right?
We should.
I don't know.
After one, is it not Derek Carr? Like I don't understand. Like I feel like it has to be Derek Carr. He's the only person that has done like almost like anything in the NFL. Like, you know, he's made it to the playoffs. Like he's had good seasons. He's thrown 30 touchdowns in a season. He's had single digit, you know, interception numbers. Like he's a good quarterback. He's just not elite. I feel like Derek Carr, kind of like Kirk Cousins. He's a talented quarterback, but because he's not elite, we think he sucks. Or like, you know, he is the butt of the joke, you know, with memes and stuff like that. Everybody else, I got Bryce Young, number 2. I don't know. We'll see. I literally don't know. I don't know. Number 3, we got Desmond Ridder. We got Ridder on the Falcons. And number 4 is fat man Baker Mayfield, bro. I'm not even trying to, because I was actually very disrespectful. But the pictures of training camp, I feel like me and him have been on the same training regimen this summer. It's just not looking good for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that is my list.
Baker's enjoyed a few Baker's dozens. You know what? I agree with you, but I switched two of them. I got Derek Carr, obviously number one. I went with Desmond Ridder. I like what I see with Desmond Ridder. I think, you know, I know only 2-2 last year, but I think he's shown some signs that he can actually be a good quarterback in this league. I don't know if he's going to be elite. I'm not saying that. I think he'll win a few games though in this league, and I think it's one of the things that makes Atlanta possibly a sleeper team in the league this year. Hold on, I got another cat jumping on this. I got all these cats jumping up all over the place. One was the old one, now I got the kitten. But then I go Bryce Young, and then I'm gonna go Baker Mayfield. I think the funny part of it all is we're taking two quarterbacks we don't really know much about, Desmond Ridder and Bryce Young. We're still saying they're still better than what Baker Mayfield is, right? So, but that's my four. Caleb, what do you got?
Okay. I feel it's very, I mean, look, Wudi is 1,000% right. Like, and I feel bad because Bryce Young hasn't even played. He hasn't even played a single game in the NFL yet. He's better than everybody else outside of Derek Carr. It's like, it feels so disrespectful to say that, but it's hard not to agree with that. Now, the Ridder thing, Gene, I can give you that. Like, I could switch that if need be. The Baker thing, it just hurts my heart because I just feel bad for him because, to be honest, guys, I love his heart. Like, that's the type of dude I would want to play with, right? It's just like he just can't hit. He's just not as good. He can't hack it like to the level that is needed in the NFL. I don't know, and I don't want to blame it on his physical stature because I've seen smaller quarterbacks. I mean, Drew Brees and it's night and day, you know. So I feel bad for Baker. I don't think he did himself any favors by going on the Mayfield diet and coming into camp like that because it's going to take its toll on your body. You know what I mean? To have to lose weight and all that. I mean, it's just, you know, but hey, it's crazy. But I have to give it to Carr. And then let's hopefully Bryce Young can ball out and take that. Ritter's great. And then Mayfield, you know, hey, I just love his heart. That's all I'll say.
I think Ridder. I think you guys are sleeping on Ridder a little bit. Nigel, what do you got?
Listen, when y'all zig, Nigel's gonna zag. Number one, Bryce Young, baby.
Oh my God, he hasn't played. He hasn't played.
I don't even care, dogs. Let me see Bryce Young. Put him in number one in this atrocious NFC South. Number two, Derek Carr. Number three, I love what Caleb's saying. I love this man's heart. He does great jobs in commercials. If anybody knows commercials, it's me. Shout out to my boy Baker Mayfield at number three. Number 4A and 4B. 4A and 4B, Ridder and Heineke, baby. Because who knows? Who knows how these guys are going to do in Atlanta? Do not forget about Heineke. This guy still put up over 1,800 yards, 12 touchdowns, 6 INTs. Who knows what's going to happen? Ridder might not do great after after 2 games, after 1 game. Who knows? But that's my list, doggy. Not going to change it. I'm going to stand by it.
I'm not even mad at you. The Bryce Young's a little disrespectful, but I'm not going to go there. I love Baker in commercials. It's him and Chris Paul.
Yeah.
2 guys who have no business playing anymore. But anyway, we'll keep going. They're phenomenal in their second careers.
Yep.
But the one thing I got to say about Heineke, you just gave his stats. How about his stats are on par to probably be better than Dak Prescott? He definitely has a better touchdown to interception ratio. I'll tell you that.
That's a
The
fact.
man led the league in interceptions and played in 12 games last year. So
you can't beat it. How about them Cowboys?
Yeah.
Love you, Matt. Love you.
All right, so let's get on to the next one. We're going to rank the NFC West defenses. I feel like this is an easy topic,
Number
man.
1, San Francisco. Number 2, San Francisco. Number 3, San Francisco. And number 4, after a little bit of a debate, San Francisco. Come on, man. Y'all know what this is. I mean, you can put Seattle in there. I'm sure Seattle, but I mean, there's really nobody else to discuss. You're talking about the Cardinals? You're talking about the Rams? Are you kidding me? Stop it.
Well, if you had to rank as bad as they are, how do you rank them?
San Francisco number 1, Seattle number 2, the Rams number 3 by default, and then what's that team in Arizona? I forgot what their name is when it comes to defense. You know, and that's sad because Budda Baker, I love him, like all that, but come on, man. Like, stop it. We're not even gonna go there.
Wholeheartedly agree. That is the exact list.
Okay, cool. When y'all zig, Nigel gonna zag.
Don't you dare tell me.
Arizona Cardinals number 1. No, it's kidding. No. I would never. But I do have a little bit of a switch in the middle there. So San Fran, obviously, they led like all the categories. They're by far the best defense in the NFC West. And then I have the Rams, then the Seahawks. And the reason why I have that is literally only because of the run yards per game. The Rams were giving up 115, but Seattle was giving up 150. So, I mean, that was the only real discrepancy. They really jockeyed for that position for second. So, I mean, second and third. Like, that's the only thing, really. And then, the lowly Cardinals who were giving up a minimum of 26 points per game. Like, you could go in there or you could play them and know that you're going to get 26 minimum on average. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's a bad look.
Do we think the Cardinals could have gotten better this year though?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, they got a defensive coach. That's with the championship pedigree. That's going to help. I don't know. I'm not so sure that they're not going to be better this year.
Listen, there's nowhere else to go.
They're definitely going to be better.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
And I agree with you on Seattle. With their running game was atrocious. The run defense. But they were decent against the pass, I felt like. So
yes,
they were. I gave them a little credit there. So I had them as number 2. Obviously, we all had the 49ers as number 1. There's no debate there. But I had the Seattle Seahawks at number 2. I put Cardinals at 3 because of the new coaching staff. Okay. I'm thinking that he's going to be able to get a little something out of that. And on paper, they have a couple of names. Patty, do you have the thing? You pop it up real quick. Do you have the? There you go. Listen,
for the Cardinals, right?
No, for the Cardinals. For the Cardinals, Patty. I'm sorry. So here we go. I mean, listen, they got. I like Zaven Collins. I like. I like Fatu. I like Ojulari. Who else? Budda Baker is obviously fantastic. They got some names on that defense that I think once you bring in a good coaching, put a good system together. Because you're White from your team in Philly, Caleb. So I mean, they added some.
I get it. Here's what I'm gonna say. Like outside of Budda Baker, and I know White from the Eagles, but now he left, so forget him. But the idea being this: have you ever seen Major League, Gene? Remember when they were running off the names for the team, for the players, and the construction worker says, "Who the f are these guys?" That's what it feels like. I feel like Conor McGregor at a conference. Who the fuck is this guy? It's like that's what it feels like. Like, come on.
Some of those guys are good though. Ojulari's a decent pass rusher.
But I mean, Aaron Donald though, like Aaron Donald is like.
He's also Aaron Donald's another.
It'd be great if he wasn't on the card. If he was on the Cardinals, but he's not. He's on the Rams.
No, I know, but he's also is he going to be what he's been?
I'm putting the Rams over the Cardinals.
Yeah, I don't even get it. And Budda Baker, as much as I love him, he got a heart of a dog and his skill set. But Budda Baker's 5'3". You know what I mean? It's like there's come on, man. Like, stop it. Because look, these guys might be okay, but what I mean, Gene, is they have to come together as a unit. It's hard, and when you're losing, you lose that desire. You're like, man, forget this. You know what I mean? Heart. So it's like, you know what I really think they're doing? I think they're trying to tank the Cardinals to get my boy up out of there as the quarterback. They're trying to get rid of Kyler Murray. So they're like, maybe if we just lose really bad, he'll like want to leave. Like, because that's what it feels like.
There's rumors that the Rams might try to trade Aaron Donald before the trading deadline. And tank and go get the kid from USC. There's a lot of rumors about that happening.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that. And Aaron is going to go to a team. Listen, like imagine him on the Niners. Imagine him in Philly. Imagine him on the Jets. Imagine him on the Cowboys. Like, think about the teams that like could really improve. Imagine him on the Bengals. Imagine him in Buffalo. Like, dude, like the teams like that could get him, and because he still got at minimum 2 to 3 seasons where he is a top 5 defensive lineman without question.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
not what? Yeah, I wouldn't even doubt that.
Two to three, like where he's top.
Because he's been teasing retirement for the last 3 years.
He's just saying that. That's just for money and like all that. He ain't going nowhere.
Like physically, have you seen it? Like,
he's phenomenal.
He can definitely.
Yeah, like it'll be great.
He's all
right.
He's more than all right.
Right.
Listen,
all right.
I mean, I'd let him play on my team, so I mean, it's all right. I'd let him play on the Jets. I'd take him.
Let him play. We would be honored.
So all right, so let's get into the next one. Ranking the AFC West defenses. This is a little bit harder than the NFC West defenses. Nigel, what do you got?
Okay. Listen.
Start with the Zag.
Yeah, I got to start with the Zag now. This is crazy, and I'm going to do it, and I'm standing by it, man. The Denver Broncos #1.
Okay.
I have that too.
Yeah, Chargers #2, Chiefs #3, Raiders #4. Now, this is a tight one. Only it's not like these defenses are great. That's why I'm giggling, because it's not like they're great. It's not it's tight because they're great. It's tight because they're kind of bad. But Denver shockingly was only allowing 109, 110 yards per game, run yards per game. I mean, that's not a bad stat. And then yards per game was 320, which is like the lowest of all of the teams, man. After that, everybody just kind of is roughly around the same, give or take 20 yards or so. So so I found it very interesting that way. But I mean, the Raiders, they were at the bottom of the pile. They were giving up again 24, 25 points per game on average. And it's like, you know what you're getting once you play them. So so once again, Broncos 1, Chargers 2, Chiefs 3, Raiders 4. That's what I got.
Let me just allow me to co-sign that list, because that is the exact order that I have. The Broncos D. This is what I'll say about that. If their offense literally just scored 18 points, they would have had a winning record. 18 points in every game. If they just scored 18 points in their games, they would have had a winning record. Instead, they won like 5 games because the offense sucked. We all know about that. But the defense was really good. They did lose some people. But Pat Surtain might be the best cornerback in football. I know that sounds like blasphemy to Gene.
No, it's not.
Jets fans, but I mean, Pat Surtain has been doing some serious work.
He's good.
He is literally as good as they can.
He's better than good.
Yeah, he's literally like
he's to me, he's the second best corner in the league.
All right, well, yeah, potatoes. That's where he's at. So I got to give it to the Broncos. Chargers. I know Caleb said what, and honestly, their performance last year was not great, but injuries. This next year, and of course that's a tough assumption. But Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, these are all guys that all miss significant stretches of time. If they are now healthy, on Madden, if we are playing these 4 teams on Madden, the Chargers.
Yeah, I'll pick the Chargers.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm hoping. They just need to stay healthy. Chiefs. Historically, I feel like they've had a bad defense for a long time, but this defense right now might actually be the best they've had, in the Andy Reid era. They're actually stepping it up. They got a whole bunch of young guys, young linebackers. Nick Bolton doing work. Obviously, Chris Jones, right, is tremendous on that defensive line. And then the Raiders just, being the Raiders.
Hard stop.
So
right there.
you guys. So you guys are right. I can't disagree with you. I totally agree about Denver. That was good. The only reason why I said what when it came to the Chargers is because I'm still heartbroken over that loss to the Jags. You can't be up 27. Dude, Asante Samuel Jr. got 3 picks. And you still dude, it makes me irate now. But it makes me really believe you, Wudi, when you say it, because you're like, Bosa and Matt coming with that dude out there at corner. That's who people take. I'm telling you, Asante Samuel Jr. is a savage. He's a top 5 corner, in my opinion. You guys could disagree, but to me, nah, he's there, right? He's that dude. So, barring injury, the Chargers should be the best defense coming out the West, like barring injury. So I'll give you that. The Chiefs, of course, and listen, there's one thing I'll say about Andy Reid. What makes Andy Reid great is that he understands what he's not good at. So he makes sure those defensive people are in place to do the defense, because Andy Reid don't care about no defense. He cares about scoring points, and you guys keep them from scoring points. That's it. So I think I got to give the Chiefs that one. Definitely 3. And then number 4, we all know it's the Raiders, and they're just in a full tailspin. Like, I have no idea. Like, it's sad, like what's happening with that franchise. They're like at least top 5 fan base in the league. Like, Raider fans are like Cowboys.
They travel
fans.
too,
like,
yeah.
Oh my, they're like Cowboys, Steelers, like those
Dolphins
teams,
fans too travel.
Man, and it's sad to see that, especially with that beautiful stadium. They got the Death Star and all of that, and it's just not like, damn. So there's that. But again, man, I'm excited about it. And to Wudi's point, if we were playing Madden, I'm picking the Chargers against all teams in the AFC West. I would take the Chargers and play. Like, that team is ridiculous to me. Just underperforming.
Gene, I know you still have to go, so I just want to put a pin in. I have a question for the panel here, but after I want to hear your list, and then I have a question.
All right, so I'll go quick so we can get right to your question. Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders. Chargers and Broncos are close because, like Wudi said, they played tremendous last year. If it wasn't for that quarterback that they have out there, Russell Wilson, they would have won some games. But they didn't. But I do like the Chargers when healthy as to be a top defense in the league, let alone the division. So so I went Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, and I kick it over to Nigel. What's the question?
Boom. Thank you, sir. My question is this. Now, with the advent of the post-Stanley Cup era of the Las Vegas Knights, right, the Vegas Knights winning, do you think any of that spills onto the Raiders organization or the Raiders fandom or the Raiders squad in terms of, like, what they come with next season? Because we all know that sometimes when a team wins, Boston is probably the pinnacle of and the most current fan base at, like, the Sox and the Patriots, and I think the Bruins might have all won a championship within like two seasons or something for a couple of years. Yeah. So, like, do you think? So my general question is: do you think that the latest Stanley Cup champions, the Vegas Knights, their championship or their energy will spill out over into the Knights or into the Raiders locker room?
I don't. I think if anything, it just adds more pressure from the fan base and from the media. I mean, I don't know how bad the media is in Vegas. Obviously, it's not New York. But I think it adds more pressure. I don't think you're going to see them play any better than they would have. I don't really know what to expect from them this year. I don't know. Is Garoppolo going to even be healthy? We have no idea. He gets signed, and then you find out after he gets signed that he actually has another injury he got surgery for. So, I mean, like, the man, everyone kept talking about how he's going to love all the women in Vegas. I don't even know if he's going to be out of the hospital in time to party.
They'll come to him. They'll come to him.
I'm sure that they can make that happen for him. But having said that, I think if anything, it might add more pressure to win. I can't see them actually doing anything for the next foreseeable future, at least. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, I'll jump in. For me, I don't think I like. This is the first time the adage of iron sharpens iron does not apply, because it's all about who is in those positions. If the GM and the owner of the Raiders were those types of dudes, then it would, because they would be like, hell no, we gotta do something. But they're not. They don't care, and the city could care less. Let me tell you, it's Vegas. They care more if Caesar's Palace was closed down, not whether the Raiders win or not. Nobody care about that. You're not going to Vegas to watch the Raiders play. Some might, but, like, the sports team is secondary to the city. So it's a little bit different versus if it was like the Steelers or something where your team is the city. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. So to me, I think it's different there, but I agree. It does put pressure. It's like, come on, y'all should be doing something. You know what I mean? So that's what I would say, but I don't think it's going to do anything. The Raiders I just don't see it. I don't think they have the right mentality in the power positions.
Agreed. That's why actually I didn't really have anything to say. That's why I didn't jump in. I was like, Yeah, I don't know. Like it's this is not looking good. I honestly won't be surprised if they have a top 5 pick next year.
Nigel, you brought up the question. What did you think? Do you think it has some spillover?
I do. Not to a massive degree. I think that the championship idea, now that Vegas has one, especially with that franchise being so young, I think there's something that's going to be said about that, because there's got to be the NFL players and NHL players, they got to know each other, or they got to party a little bit. So there's got to be a little bit of something happening there. I think everybody's right in terms of, I don't think it's going to do a lot of damage to in their division. I don't think that changes the AFC West much, but I do think it's going to hopefully bring a little bit more attention to them. And the pressure is huge. Gene, you mentioned it first. I think you're right. The pressure is massive. So I would like to see it. I hope I see it. Probably won't.
And I think for the same reason you said, I think is why there's so much pressure is that's a new organization. What are they in the league 3 years? They already won a title. I think they already went to a Stanley Cup Finals
in their first year.
I believe.
Yeah, in their first year.
And then now year 3, they actually win it. So I think that's the part that really adds the most pressure, as you're going to have a lot of fans be like, yo, they just weren't – not that they just got here, because there are all sports teams that are now just coming to Vegas, but they didn't even exist 2-3 years ago. So I think for that reason, that makes the pressure that much harder for it, for the Raiders. So – and they're going to be getting the A's too. And they're getting a horrible team with the A's. I don't see the A's turning around anytime soon.
No, they're not. They're not. I mean, shoot, didn't the Vegas – I don't know. I think aren't the Aces in the WNBA from Vegas? Like, whoever they won a title. Or at least was there. I think they won a title.
They did.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Don't nobody care? Like, that's what I mean. And not no disrespect to them. Like, no. I'm meaning like the city. Like, they had they just won a Stanley Cup. Nobody cares. Is the MGM open? Okay, I'm gonna go play blackjack. Like they're going to Vegas for those things.
And again, you might go to a game because, hey, let's go check out a game. We're in town, but then there's not the heavy rooting interest isn't going to be there.
No, totally. That's what I mean. Like you're adding to it. Like you're just another piece of the experience of Vegas. Like it's not like, oh, we're going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get on to the next one. We're going to rank the NFC North quarterback wide receiver duos. Wudi, you want to go first?
All right. Well, I'm definitely about to zig. I feel like, how do we not have the same number one? How do we not? I don't, because in my opinion,
I could be the quarterback over there and it would still be the number one choice.
I mean, Justin Jefferson is literally my pick for the best receiver in football. I know people can say Devontae Adams, people can say Cooper Kupp, and I won't argue, I feel like we're splitting hairs at that point. But he's my personal pick, Justin Jefferson. So Kirk Cousins, I mean, I brought him up before when I was talking about Derek Carr. He's good, not great. I'm so excited to learn a little bit more about him in that new Netflix documentary, Quarterback. He's one of the main focuses with Mahomes and Marcus Mariota. So I'm so excited for that. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, that is number one.
That sigh, such a deep sigh, and then scratching the back of my man's head. No, it's gonna be long.
It's not that bad though. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought we're gonna get to the AFC South in a minute, and that one's pretty bad.
That one is actually worse. It is worse. So I'll just go through it. Number 2, Fields and Moore. I mean, DJ Moore has already had a great history of having good seasons with horrific quarterbacks. He has yet to play with a good one in his career, yet he has 3 different seasons of over 1,300 yards. So he has to get it. Number 3, Jared Goff and somebody in Detroit. I don't know who it is. It could be Amon-Ra St. Brown. It could be Jameson Williams when he comes back from suspension. I don't know, but somebody has to be catching the ball from Jared Goff, because I literally do not know what we have with Jordan Love and Watson. I feel like both of them could be mirages. Like we don't know. What is Jordan Love? We don't know. And Watson, he people are gonna hype him up because he came to life. But how much of that was Aaron Rodgers being one of the most accurate throwers in the history of football, finally finding him, because it wasn't even like the yardage. It was really just a lot of touchdowns, and he's 6'4", so just throw him a good jump ball and he's there. Is Jordan Love? I mean, if Jordan Love doesn't have that skill set, they both could be super relevant. So that's my list.
Caleb?
Yeah, you know what? I actually agree. I'll just say the Goff and Amon-Ra I think is a little underrated, because I think Amon-Ra is better than what people, even though he's getting it, I think he is good. And Goff is a good quarterback. It's not great, none of that, but he's good. He's solid. So I definitely give him the number 2 over Fields, because I think the receiver on the Bears is better. I think he's better than Amon-Ra, but I think Fields is definitely below Goff in accuracy and throwing the football. Like, that's my only thing. Now, Fields is a way bigger threat, which could make the passing game that much easier for him, because they have to worry about the run. It will leave his receivers a little bit more open, because you can't double team them, because you need more in the box to contain them, because this dude can run it like it's insane. So that kind of neutralizes my point about the accuracy, because you don't have to be as accurate when your receiver is one-on-one versus double covered. You know what I mean? So there's that. But Jefferson is, I mean, it's leaps and bounds. It's not even a competition in that division for who's the best receiver. Not even close.
They might even be one of the best combos in the top 5 of the whole league. Well,
not because Kirk Cousins is not on that level. If he had somebody that was on that level, Jefferson, it would be insane. If he was, you don't
think they could still be top 5 in the league?
I think they might be top 5 in the league. I feel like they might be top 5. Because think about Devontae Adams, who's also on that tier. Right, I would put Cousins and Jefferson over Garoppolo and Adams.
Yeah. Because and to me, I get that, and I can see that, because I think Cousins is better than Jimmy G.
Yeah,
in my opinion. But I think it's all quarterback based, right? So they could be, but the Jets, like Rodgers with his number 1 receiver, even though I know it's AFC, so it's wrong, but say Prescott and Hook, what's his name? The dude
CeeDee Lamb?
No. Well, Lamb, but the fast dude from
Brandon Cook.
Brandon Cook. It could be something like that, just because he's just getting a gain of yards. You know what I mean? With stuff like it's so quarterback based when you're a receiver. You could be Jerry Rice, but if you got Baker Mayfield throwing you the ball, your career don't pan out like it does for somebody who's half your ability but has top 5 QB throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the only thing that makes it a little bit different. It's hard to make it apples to apples when your quarterback isn't on that level. But Jefferson is there, and I think he's absolutely a top 5 receiver. Forget the quarterback, just him as a receiver, absolutely top 5 without question.
Nigel?
Yeah, man, my list is the same. I'm not gonna go too deep into this. Yeah, my list is the same. I except for more, I've got Clement. I've got the tight end up in there with Justin Fields, because
that's a good choice.
Because I mean, he put up 544 in terms of yardage, and he was probably one of Fields' favorite and best targets last season. So I mean, it's crazy looking at the receivers that Chicago had, because I don't think any of them broke 600 yards. I mean, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But I mean, now with more there, hopefully he does some damage.
So I had Cousins, Jefferson, Goff, St. Brown, Fields, Moore, then Love, Watson. And for the same reason that we've kind of said, we don't really know what Love's skill set really is to know if it's going to benefit Watson. Listen, we could all be surprised, and by the end of the year, they could be the number 2 in this list.
They could.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
That would be pretty scary if that's the case.
I hear that, Gene. But if my auntie was a man, she'd be my uncle. So come on.
I'm just saying, if Love turns out to be half decent, they could etch up this list. So, all right. So then we're gonna move into AFC South quarterback wide receiver duos. Before we get into, I'm really interested in number 6 to see what Caleb thinks about that. But so let's AFC South quarterback wide receiver duos. This might be the worst category that we've done so far this year.
Definitely.
What do you got? Let me do mine first, and then we'll go from there, and then you guys can tell me. You can rip mine apart. It's just that this was hard. Lawrence Ridley to me is Lawrence and Ridley at the number one spot.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's so obvious. Then after that, I got Tannehill and Burks. Mm-hmm. Then I have Richardson and Pittman, and then I have Stroud and Mechie. Is there anywhere else you could have gone?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, obviously, Lawrence. Yeah, I mean, somebody doesn't have Lawrence.
That's the only lock is Lawrence Ridley.
Yeah, it has to be. It simply has to be. I think the next receiver, using the logic of the last one, I think the next best receiver is actually Michael Pittman Jr. So I don't know if Richardson is going to be great, but I put them as number two because I just think the ceiling is highest for them. Like, even if Tannehill returns back to the form that, got him that big extension, I'm still not super hyped on him and Burks. Their floor is higher, right? It could end up not looking as ugly, but I went with ceiling. So I went with Richardson and Pittman, and then, of course, Tannehill and Burks for that exact same reason. And then C.J. Stroud, I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect, the boy, but his receivers, I literally – you said Mitchie, somebody can say Nico Collins, somebody can say Robert Woods. I just put somebody. I literally wrote the word somebody because I don't know who it could be. Nigel should put in Cole Kmet. Maybe I should put in Dalton Schultz. I can do that.
Oh, shit. Listen. I'm gonna sometimes y'all zig. Sometimes I gotta zig with you. And I'm laughing so hard. I'm not even going to go through my list because it's close to the same as everybody else's. But what's spot on is, for me, I have number two, CJ Stroud, number two. And then I put receivers. I just put receivers because I was like, Collins and Woods, they both together equaled 1,000 yards together. Yeah. This is a tough squad, man. This is a tough receiving core to be on. Yes. Last season. Who knows what it's going to be this season? I was just so excited to say, like, maybe Stroud's going to walk into something special, because we did all talk about that. Houston may be the team that comes up, because they did a whole bunch of revamping, man. Like, they went inside that home and they just demoed to redeco the whole place. Right. So who knows what's going to happen, but I just put them number two for fun. Some might say for shits and giggles, pardon my French, but I mean, that's what I have. And I think it's hilarious that's like Collins and Woods. We were just like, and a receiver, who knows who it's going to be. And that's it. All my other stuff is very much the same.
Yeah. I don't know if there's, it's, would you say this is probably the worst one we've done, the worst category?
1,000%. I hated every bit of it.
It tasted so bad. It
was horrible.
But now, what do you guys feel about Tannehill Burks? I had the number two, and I didn't really hear any love for them. I mean, if Tannehill's even going to be the starter, we don't know. But
can I also say, you guys mentioned Moore, right? We mentioned Chris Moore, the receiver for Tennessee.
Oh, and, no.
I'm going to mention, because I had to go into the second string. That's how bad this whole list was. Because he actually had 48 receptions, 548 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like, that was like the best, the best that I could find and scrummage around. I was like, yeah, I guess we'll go in the second string here. Like this whole division was a tough find to get this duo.
Yeah,
but I digress.
I mean, it's gonna be tough sledding this year.
Well, I don't like Tannehill. We don't know if Tannehill's gonna play the whole season. We don't know Levis. I mean, now I actually heard something that Malik Willis might get cut. Like,
yeah, I heard.
I don't even know like what is happening over there. So I really can't. And like to what Caleb said before about, receivers can only be as good as, the quarterback. I do think there are exceptions to that rule. Like, I feel like there are a couple of guys who, like Allen Robinson was able to build a nice career for himself, just getting thrown to, by bums, DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think Burks is that dude. I think of that draft class, Garrett proved to be that dude, and Chris Olave, but I don't think Burks is immune to horrific quarterback play. So that's why I guess I got no love for them.
Can All right. We're I don't did he is he oh there we go, he's back.
Sorry.
I wasn't sure if he left this. No, you're good. You're good.
No,
I
didn't leave. I could still hear everything. It was just I was just getting inundated with emails, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I was supposed to be on a Zoom 30 minutes ago for a project, and I was like, "Oh."
Do you need to go? You can if you have to bounce.
No. I'm just checking. I'm like, if nobody's on, if they already did the call without me, it is what it is. But hey, man. I forgot. My time is off. I'm used to being in LA. I'm 3 hours ahead. I thought the time.
I would say it's like 10:30 for you right now. So
yeah, it was my bad. So okay, but hey, it is what it is.
All right. Well, I'm gonna want your opinion on this next one first, Caleb, because this is impacting you. Who is the biggest NFC threat to the Philadelphia Eagles?
The 49ers, without question. It's going to be between them. I mean, look, the NFC East is going to be a big threat too because they just know how to play each other. It doesn't matter what's on paper and how good the players are. It's always a dogfight between them, right? So Dallas, the Giants, and the Commanders can cause problems. But really, I'm seeing the real fight is between the Niners and Eagles for domination of the NFC. I just think it's between them. And I could be absolutely wrong. There could be a sleeper that comes up and beats them both and they don't even make the NFC championship. Okay, anything can happen. Injuries, football. But barring any of that, I think it's between the 49ers and Eagles without question. And I think who wins that, I think wins the chip this season. Like I think because the Eagles only lost the Super Bowl because of a referee. You know what I mean? Like, Oh my gosh, that was crazy. You know what I mean? So I think they're right there. And Frisco only didn't compete because of an injury to their quarterback. Had Christian McCaffrey not been their quarterback, they might have been able to do something. You know what I mean? Like in all fairness. So I think it's going to be between those two for the chip.
What about you guys?
I literally can't even imagine a third team being on their level, like in the NFC. I'll tell you one thing for damn sure, it's not in the NFC South. In the NFC North, probably not. So that literally only leaves the Eagles. I think that the Eagles are about to moonwalk into the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't be surprised. Now they're probably not gonna be undefeated because what Caleb said. The NFC East is super competitive, right? They build their teams to beat those teams. So all those games are always super competitive with the NFC East. But when the playoff comes and Daniel Jones is throwing ducks and Dak is throwing picks and the Commanders don't even make it, then it's time for the rest of the NFC. And it's just the 49ers. So they are definitely the biggest threat. I do think they are a threat, but at their best, I think the Eagles, I still see them moonwalking. Just moonwalking straight through the 49ers and that well-coached Kyle Shanahan team. That's just how I see it.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. It's time for me to zag on them, baby. Imagine. No, I can't. Yeah, I can't zag on him. I got to just keep playing this bit up, but I can't zag on him. And the best part about this, Gene, is that you're making your boy do the research and put in the work. So I'm getting super educated, even more so than I was in my.
I'm trying to help you out when it comes to fantasy football season. I'm trying to help you out draft, man.
Dude, and this is fantastic. All this to say, all that preamble is to say that upon doing research, I had the Chiefs and the 49ers, and then I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, it's for sure the 49ers. You guys are all right. There's nothing else to say. The 49ers, like I mentioned before, have led the stats in all of the categories defensively. They were stoppers, and then their offense was ridiculous. So it's the only reason why I had the Chiefs up there as well is because the Chiefs got to a point and have still been at that point where you need to put up more points than them. That's the only way you're going to beat them. And they're going to do it every drive, and they're going to do it fast and furious. So it's if you can do that, if you can keep up, if there's a game of endurance, great. And I think the Eagles have that. But what the Chiefs don't have is the defense. Again, Wudi was completely correct. This has probably been the best defense that they've had in quite a while, consistently too, in decades. But I don't think it's enough because of what the Eagles have weapons-wise. So I'm with the crew here. I'm riding with the whole squad on this one. 49ers, baby. Them Niners are gonna go.
We don't think there's a sleeper team in there at all.
There probably is. It just doesn't
sure.
seem that way right now. Like there always is.
I'm not saying this is them. Yeah, it's still early. I'm not saying this is them.
My answer for the next question could end up being a sleeper team.
Well, I'm gonna say could you guys? And I'm not saying they're going to be. So don't laugh at me.
Can Dallas?
Could Detroit?
No,
I was saying could
Detroit.
No,
Detroit can't do it.
If they fixed up that, if they fixed, they did a little bit of work on that defense. They would get.
But see, their defense is fine. Here's where they would come down to. It comes to the box. It's the trenches, right? Can their offensive line?
Your offensive line is one of the best young offensive lines in football.
Okay, can they sustain against the defensive pressure and keep Goff protected enough to make accurate passes and throws against high-level defenses that are out there? Because now you're dealing with corners that know how to play, with linebackers that know how to when you elevate the defense, it's the whole squad. It's the platoon. Like they know, you know what I mean? So like you gotta be prepared. I don't know if they are ready in the trenches for it, and they might be, like you said, one of the best, right? Not saying that, but. And then can Goff elevate to play at that level? Can he put that ball through those tight windows? Can he, everything comes into play when you get to that next level of competition, when you start looking for the chip. You know what I mean? So not saying Detroit can't, but will they? I don't think so. I
agree. I still think they're a couple of years away from being really competitive. I think they still have more work to do in that defense.
And I think the offense is going to be explosive. Away. I think they'll get the team ready and they'll need a quarterback. I don't think Goff is good enough at that level, just to be honest.
I do like it's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I do like where your head is at, Gino. I understand why you would say that. I think that's going pretty deep, like for a sleeper team, like the Lions. But I understand why you'd say that, because I hope that
they realistically could win that division this year.
You're not wrong, man. I hope they come up, but I don't think they will, because I think a lot of that off season betting turmoil is really going to bite them in the butt. I think that's going to be a real problem for them.
That's going to stink.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a real issue for them coming out of it. I won't speak further on that because I don't know. Who knows? But I just feel like that's going to be a little thing that's going to hinder them. Yeah, that's how I feel about that.
All right. So then let's get into our last topic of the day. Most improved NFL defense. You said you had a sleeper on this one, Wudi. What do you got?
I think this team, if their defense improves, which I'm saying they're about to improve, they could end up, being that third team. But I still don't think it's going to be to the level of what we're talking about, to really, because, those two teams are so fundamentally sound on both sides of the ball. But anyway, after that ramble, Brian Flores. He is a man who came from the Belichick coaching tree, which actually isn't as prestigious of a coaching tree as that sounds, right? As it should be. But he is actually one of the few branches that went out and actually turned the franchise around, right? He had Miami that was recovering from Adam Gase, who does not work in the NFL anymore. The Jets did give him a job, but now he works at a high school. They were recovering from Adam Gase, okay, and he actually brought them to a relevance, right? Then he had, just a discourse with his boss, and he got fired.
He got screwed. Let's be honest. He got screwed by the Dolphins.
He did. I'm trying to be political. You know what I'm saying? But yes, it was egregious. It was an outrage. Mike Tomlin, one of the best coaches in the world, right, in any sport, like in the Big Four, picked him up, right? They worked together, and now Brian Flores has found himself a new job. He is the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, a team that so desperately needs to be turned around on that side of the football. We just talked about how good Justin Jefferson was. We just talked about how with Kirk Cousins, he's not great, but they were good enough. They were scoring 30 points like it was nothing. But what kept happening? They would lose shootout after shootout after shootout. Daniel Jones in the playoffs was throwing ducks, quack. And yet, I can't even name a receiver on the Giants, but they were catching those balls because the Vikings defense was so bad. They literally lost a shootout to the New York Giants. Think about how embarrassing that is. They immediately, that same day, fired their defensive coordinator, and they got Brian Flores. He is about to turn these boys around. One thing I will say, because some people that watch this, they might be like, what? Like the Vikings? You know, they lost – and I know this is offense, but they lost Dalvin Cook. You know, they lost Adam Thielen. You know, on the defensive side, they lost Patrick Peterson. They lost Darius Smith. They're losing all these guys. But sometimes you got to shed the skin, right? Break out of that cocoon. These are all names. If you look between the lines, you look at the metrics, which is what the Vikings front office is all about, is like the metrics and advanced data and stuff like that. All of these things are getting them money so that they can make moves for these next couple of years. You know, Adam Thielen, he was good. Is he still performing at that same level at age 34 with his bloated contract? Same thing with Dalvin Cook. Same thing with every single person I just named. I think Brian Flores is the guy that's going to get the best out of this young talent. Caleeb actually said this when we were talking about the NBA, you know, getting those three guys instead of, you know, taking the $1 million and getting those 3 or 4 guys, those dogs that are going to give everything they have to give. Brian Flores takes that mentality and inserts it into his defense. I think the Minnesota Vikings could have a masterful turnaround on the defensive side of the ball. And if they do that, they could be that third team in the NFC.
I like it. What do you got, Nige?
Yeah, no, Gene. Caleeb, I heard you squeak something out there. Go on and get it.
I was gonna say I agree wholeheartedly. Like people are so important. Individual personalities can make the changes that is needed. Flores has that. So if they buy into it, they could be nasty on defense. Minnesota has always had a pretty good defense. Like that's what made them competitive. Right now, they just recently got offensive weapons that are like, you know, because for years it was just Adrian Peterson. And then Adam Thielen had a little bit, you know what I mean? But like, to be honest, it was basically AP for a long time. So I think the defense with somebody like Flores there, they absolutely can do it. I think it would be between them and Matt, you're going to love me for this, and the Cowboys to see who could be that number 3 team. Because as much as I do not like their blue star, I can't act like they don't have a team that could be primed to be a bother to both the Eagles and Frisco, and more so the Eagles because the Eagles got to play them twice in the season, and they could be a spoiler for something. Like to where they could change it to where now you don't have home field. Right, you got to go to play Frisco and San Francisco now. You know what I mean? Which can make it a difference. So again, it could be between them with that, and I think Flores can make a big difference for Minnesota's defense. I'm a big fan, and I agree. He got hosed in Miami.
Is that me now? Yeah. Listen, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm going to throw a couple stats at you, nothing major. Then I'm going to walk away from it. I'm going to sign off and buy another hat. Here's who I'm talking about. Talking about the 8-1 Washington Commanders. Listen, man, listen. We know the name sucks. We know the colorway is tight. But the defense, this defense, they might be the most improved. Because what they did was they added a secondary with their first and second round picks. So they added some cornerbacks. They also got Carmen Carl in there. He had 58 solo tackles. Okay. And they got Chase Young, defensive end. Listen, this is a defense that's going to go past the 500 mark. And we all know the coaching staff. We all know, man. I mean, Ron Rivera, the guy's he can do no wrong over there with what he has. We had talked about him extensively about a month, 2 months ago, and how this guy is just making lasagna out of everything but pasta and beef. Like, we know this guy, he's making delicacies surprisingly with the team that he's got, right? So I think Jack Del Rio is going to do something over there, and I think they're going to be okay, man. I think they'll be one of the most improved defenses.
I like that pick. I think the Vikings. Again, kind of to mirror what Wudi said. I love the addition of Brian Flores in Minnesota. I think that's a team that I think defensively they want to be good. I feel like that. I mean, who doesn't want to be good defensively? I get it, but you've seen them keep up to an extent at times last year, and then totally let their guard down and give up big plays. I think that's what hurt them mostly last year was just the big plays. But I'm going to talk about a couple of teams that I think were already good defensively that I think are going to be a huge improvement, and they were already good defensively. I think if you look at the additions that Miami made on their defense, plus now having Bradley Chubb for a full year, we forget he wasn't there all year last year. He was only there for half the year. Now we're going to have him there all year this year. And I hate to say because I'm going to be rooting against them, but then adding the depth they have in the secondary. Even the Jets, I like the moves that the Jets made, bringing in Adrian Amos, bringing in Al Woods. I think Chuck Clark's not going to be playing this year. He's hurt, but they re-signed. They brought in Adrian Amos. I think the Jets team. I mean, Wudi, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think they're going to be better this year than they were last year? And they were fourth last year.
I'm so sorry. I cannot believe you asked me that question, but I do not actually.
I really don't think so.
I think that the Jets defense was one of the most overrated units in all of football last year.
What are you saying right now?
I'm so sorry.
Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in to today's edition of the Pop-Off.
I bring us home. I think I just had a stroke.
Due to the infighting between two of our esteemed
commentators.
Yeah, commentators.
Wow.
We got to call this one early.
I got to be honest. It's like it's Urute. Like I just didn't expect it from Wudi, man.
Gene is having a day.
What would Abby say right now? She would be livid.
Oh, she would love. She's losing her mind right now. She might have pulled some hair out.
Man,
easily.
You don't like the addition
that's
this year?
a rough one. That's a rough one.
Hey.
So why are they overrated, Wudi? So why do you believe that they are overrated? Because we haven't heard the reason. Because there's probably a reason. Wudi's smart. He knows what he's talking about. So what is it?
Damn, I appreciate that. Here it is. Backup quarterbacks. All right. Most of our stats, right? The turnovers, everything that we were forcing as a defense happened against Brett Ripien, Skylar Thompson. Oh my gosh, I can't even think of any of the other backups that we played at right at this moment. But it was a bunch of them. Once during the end of the season, when we started facing, and we weren't even facing elite quarterbacks, it was Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins. We could not force a turnover for the last 5 games of the season. There was only one. There was one where Quentin Williams had a strip sack on Trevor Lawrence. But that defense that, in the middle of the year that was looking rough and tough, we just, destroy Aaron Rodgers and all that, like that.
And the Bills.
Rodgers is Rodgers. I'll give you that. Another reason why I'm not high on them this year as opposed to last year is last year, literally not one starter missed more than 2 weeks of play. Like they were abnormally healthy. We know it's football. People get injured. People go down, right? The year prior, we had lost Carl Lawson now. This might be the 2-year anniversary of losing Carl Lawson in July. And then we lost all those linebackers, and it looked like our defense sucked. But the main difference was that, now we're healthy this year. I think we're going to kind of see that again with our offensive line because our offensive line was destroyed, and now they most likely will be healthy. The chances of every single starter being healthy again this year, all throughout the year, is very unlikely. So I think between the increased play, we didn't play the Chiefs, we played them this year. Didn't play your Eagles, play them this year. We about to get smacked. Like I feel like it's about to be crazy with the discrepancy between facing bums last year at full health and then dealing with injuries now against some of the best teams in all of football.
So, Gene, before you jump in, because I know you got a whole lot to say, I'll just say this. He made a very good point
I'm
that I was ignoring.
Abby right now. I'm
So
telling
I'm not.
I'm telling Abby what's going on right now. I'm telling Abby.
Good point, though. Like those are really good points. That's how a team can do so good in a season, then get to a Super Bowl and get blown out. And you're like, because they never faced that level of competition. It happens it would happen in college sports a lot. In football, like a team, remember when Cincinnati was like undefeated and everybody's like, oh, and then they play Ohio State. And it was like, huh? Because the level of competition is so different. So, Wudi makes a good point. Wudi makes a good point about that, especially about the Eagles. I know, coming to play us, it's going to be different. So I get it.
That's going to be a tough one. But you know what?
Go ahead, Gene.
Those first 6 games are going to be tough, right? I feel like we're going to be 3-3 after those first 6 games. I'm not expecting to have a winning record after the first 6 games. I do expect after those first 6 games, though, to go on a big run and finish the season with 12 wins. So, yeah, I got to be honest. I don't even know how to rebut that because he's right. We did play a lot of bad quarterbacks, but we did play some good quarterbacks. We played Aaron Rodgers. We shut him down. We did play twice. We played Josh Allen. We shut him down. I mean, we played well against Josh Allen.
As
long as you have Sauce Gardner, that's going to take away half the field. As long as you have Sauce Gardner, that's going to take away. He reminds you of Revis Island a little bit. If you look at that 2009 season by Revis, right, how he just basically maybe one of the best back seasons, one of the best seasons a cornerback ever had was that 2009 season by Revis, right? It's got to be top 5 at least, where he shut down every name brand receiver. I feel like Sauce Gardner can do that. I feel like he'll be only better next year. DJ Reed helps with that. I think you got stronger in the safety position because I love the addition of Adrian Amos. I think he makes that defense, that backfield better. I love the additions they made up front. They didn't, everyone kept saying, oh, they have a great up front. They have a great front line, defensive line. And what they did, they still went out and they made moves to make that line stronger than it was even last year. The one thing I would like to see us do is I'd like to see us go bring back Quan Alexander. He knows the system. He knows the players. He played decent last year. I'd like to see us bring Quan Alexander back. And I think we will. I think we're kind of waiting to see what other moves we make first. And then kind of bring and see how much money we have to pay him.
I hate our linebackers.
He hasn't signed anybody else either.
I hate our linebackers. We get torched in the middle. Once they realize
that's our weakest spot. I'll give you that. It's our weakest spot.
CJ Mosley, he has it here. Physically, he's just not. He doesn't have the motor. He doesn't have the motor anymore. I like him, and I want him to be out there.
Quincy.
Well, Quincy's out of position.
Quincy's got his.
During the end of the season, that's how we got beat. We lost to the Lions because a tight end that was working at Whole Foods the previous night, they just put a blue jersey on him, and he scored a touchdown because the linebackers were just wildly out of position. Evan Ingram, I played him in fantasy football. This is not the phone I had that night because I broke the phone I had that night because he torched the New York Jets on Thursday Night Football. We were getting dashed every single time by every single opposing tight end. And who do we face this year? Travis Kelce, Darren Waller on the Giants, Dallas Goedert on those Eagles. I'll talk about them again. We faced the Texans, Dalton Schultz, who was on the Cowboys. Now he's over there. I'm telling you, we did not address the linebacker position appropriately. Now we're asking Quan, who just had a miracle season out the blue, to come back. We should have drafted. Stop.
Listen. Wudi, I admire your passion and your knowledge is unprecedented. There's one thing among many things that Caleb and I talked about yesterday, and Gene, this is for you as well, is that the two of us are like, I guess we're gonna pay attention to the Jets a lot more this season, huh? And Caleb was like, yeah, dog, we are, because we've got 3 of the how many fantastic podcasters on this show that are avid Jets fans, and by proxy, it just seems to be by osmosis, just seems to be seeping in. It was like, well, we're all going to have something to say, and by the end of the season, Wudi, we're all going to have your type of knowledge and probably anger towards the Jets fandom and the Jets organization by the end of the season. But we'll see. I just want to throw that out there that by proxy, we've all become Jets. I don't want to use the word fans.
Supporters. Because I can't lie. I love Aaron Rodgers. I want to see Aaron do well. So if that means he does well, the Jets do well, then I want to see it. I'm being honest. And if we play them in the Super Bowl, I'm gonna go for my team. But I would love if we lost to Aaron Rodgers, I would be hurt, but also glad to see Aaron freaking win, because I hate the narrative about him, right? Like I think people diss him, and I get he may not be your cup of tea as a person. I get it, but I always take away personality from skill set, and I just think he's just phenomenal. You know what I mean? It's why I can like Shawn Michaels. I actually like a little bit of pricks, to say the word. You know what I mean? That's why I like Conor McGregor. I like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like when the key is being funny. The thing with Aaron is he's not that funny, so it comes across as like dickheadish. You know what I mean?
It comes across as a dick.
Yeah, it has to be funny. When you make it funny, it's palatable. You know what I mean? So that's it. But I do want to see him do well. So if that means the Jets do well by proxy, hey, then there's that. But not better than us. That's all. You know what I mean? But yeah. So I will be paying attention. And plus, you're gonna be talking about it every damn week. Gotcha. So
I didn't want to. I was.
No, not you. I mean, Gene. Gene is every week.
Listen, we'll be talking a lot of Eagles and a lot of Steelers and a lot of Cowboys.
When they win, Gene's gonna be like, "Okay, so did you guys see the Jets game?" And he's gonna go on for 20 minutes about all the great things the Jets did, down to how cold. The water.
I'll be talking about
the Gatorade. Like, it's just gonna be insane. It's just gonna be insane.
I'm sorry. Listen, real quick before we get out of here, I want to bring up one last topic because they're still out there. Bernard Hopkins. I'm sorry. DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin Cook. Where do we think they end up real quick? Do we think anything's changed? Now that the Jets seem like they might be in the lead for the running back now. What are your thoughts, real quick, before we get out of here? Caleb?
Well, I think he should go to the Jets. The Jets need as much as they just go, you win now. It's the same thing I was saying in basketball. It doesn't change in the sport. It's now. And you damn sure not gonna see no repeated Super Bowl champs. I don't think the Chiefs win it this year. I'm being honest, because if it wasn't for a referee call, they wouldn't have won it then. You know what I mean? So it's like it. I don't think they repeat. Will they be competitive? Yes, but not repeating. So I think Cook should go there, and Hopkins, he should go to the Browns. And I'm surprised there's not a stronger market for him. I'm like, wow. Yeah. Okay. You know what I mean? So I think he should go to the Browns or go to the Pats, whatever, because you got to start playing again. People got to see it again. And then you'll be able to get, because they're only going to give him a season. Like, they'll give him a 1-year contract, and then he'll play to show that he's worth the big bucks again, and then go there. So that's what I would do if I was him.
Gotcha. Nigel, what are your
listen, man, I don't know. I'm kind of over this conversation only because I want those guys to play, and I want them to play with some fun teams. You know what? Maybe if Hopkins go to if he goes to Carolina or something, and
they don't want him.
I know it's hard to say. I know they should want him.
Yeah, they should want him. I'm surprised every team in the NFL doesn't want him.
He's literally like a top 10 receiver in football right now.
Yeah. You'd love to see him. You'd love to see him come up with a young kid. You know what I mean? You'd love to see what happens there.
There must be something about him that we don't know because we're not behind the scenes, right? Facts. There must be. I'm serious, because there's no way you let that high quality of a receiver just sit and nobody tries to get him.
And he's not 38. What you don't say
he's what, 32
to get him, and Dallas takes everybody. They didn't even try. Yeah. Think about it. There has to be something that we don't know that's about him behind the scenes.
But I don't know. If I thought if I'm Jets GM Joe Douglas, I'm going after Hop.
Me
Cook.
Too.
We can.
Of course.
But how does he not want to play with Aaron Rodgers? You know what I'm saying? I feel like DeAndre has spent so much of his career playing with Brian Hoyer or Matt Schaub. All these people. He had Deshaun, and then was traded away because of the beef with Brian Hoyer. I feel like it is probably very important for him to not waste his career with another Matt Schaub, Brian Hoyer. He needs to play with a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. And I thought Aaron Rodgers would be on that list. When they first said he was waived, I was ordering a Jets DeAndre Hopkins jersey on NFLshop.com.
It seemed like it made sense.
But now, they're saying Cook. For Cook, I don't think he's as much of a game changer right now. I mean, obviously, like a team, like if he goes to the Bills or the Dolphins, I think that's like a big for them because they both struggle in the run game. But like the Jets, it would be nice, to have that depth. We don't have to worry about Breece's ACL as much, but I don't think that's as big of a deal. DeAndre Hopkins, he can change our franchise depending on where he goes. So
yeah.
I don't know. The Chiefs should have. I don't know why they're rolling with Kadarius Toney as number one. I feel like, they can, but like they don't have to.
They can because of their tight end situation.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good point.
That's why they can. A good point. So.
And the Jets to me, it's dumb not to take Cook because the NFL, the Eagles have shown it, and other teams are copying it. You need 3 running backs. You need 3 that can go. That's how you protect Breece's ACL and all of that. It's like you don't make them run 35 times a game. You make them run 20 times. And then you have another dude run 15 to 20 times. And then, you know what I mean? And you need them that can catch out the backfield. All of that. Like the old school John Madden style of running the what's his name? Landry style and all of that, and the Vince Lombardi, that's old. That's done. You're not running 50 times a game anymore, right? Yeah. You need a running back that can catch out the backfield, run sweeps, run screens, all of that stuff. And you need multiple guys to do it. And it keeps the defense off balance because they're like, damn, he's in. I'm telling you, it's like I would do that if I was the Jets. It takes the pressure off Aaron as well. Like I'm telling you, like you gotta do it. It's what made Hurts seem so good. There were so many options.
It's a good point. Good point.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
So, all right. So that's gonna wrap it up for today's show, guys. So let's go around the horn and give our last words of the day. Nigel, last words.
Ooh, man, it is the beginning of the week. I hope your week just keeps getting better and better, and you look forward to the weekend because it's gonna be a good one. Oh, and I already bought a hut today. So
I was with him yesterday. I seen it.
I seen it.
Yeah, I took.
He's got the hat spot.
I took him to one of my secret hat spots. Yeah, man. And this guy fell in love with like 3 or 4 hats out there, so he's leaving with at least one.
Yo, those Blue Jay hats are man.
Yep.
Listen, I'm not even like dope.
Yep.
Yeah, and it won't cost me my life in LA if I wear it. So I'm happy.
There you go. Wudi, last words.
I am going to take some inspiration from Nigel, and I'm just gonna say, hey, when some people zig, don't be afraid to zag.
That's right.
There you go. Caleeb, last words.
All right, since I'm in Canada, it's a special one. Spread love. It's the Toronto way.
Hey.
There we go.
From the 6th. Guys, for me, have a great today, a better tomorrow, and we will see you on Thursday.
That's the pop-off for today, folks. Thank you to all of our listeners, as well as our producers, Patty Puddles and Fareed Kameo. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to hear what these hooligans will pop off about next.